The planet Earth is inhabited by a high number of species, among them mammals, insects, oviparous, and many species that scientists have studied throughout history. Some have become extinct, and others are still among us. But beyond the species we know in this world, there are creatures that human beings have not yet been able to describe or identify. That's why today we bring you a terrifying list of creatures that, even if you don't believe it, exist in real life. Number 5. Malombo the Brain Sucker. Africa is a continent full of mysteries that have been unanswered over the years. It is a place with an inviolable biodiversity and that captivates with its spectacular landscapes, but also with incredible stories that mention beasts never discovered, as is the case of Malombo the Brain Sucker. According to the testimonies of the natives, this monster is located in a river near Mount Mzimlava in South Africa and has attacked people who try to cross that stream. Regarding its physical features, some people describe it as a 66-feet creature with crocodile skin. Others describe it as an animal similar to the Elasmosaurus of the Jurassic era. Number 4. The Bahamas Monster. In 2005, an underwater photographer was performing his activities near a blue hole in the island. Number 4. The Bahamas Monster. In 2005, an underwater photographer was performing his activities near a blue hole in the islands of the Bahamas. The diver reported being attacked by a huge octopus at least 15 meters long. The terrified diver, in an attempt to save himself, placed the camera in front of the creature, but this monstrous octopus was able to snatch the camera from him before disappearing into a cave. The diver could not clearly describe the being that attacked him, but the inhabitants of the zone speak of an enormous monster that lives in the blue holes of the island, a creature known as Lusca. Lusca is the name of the creature that inhabits the Atlantic Ocean as well as the Caribbean Sea, specifically the Bahamas. There have been several sightings of this animal, and some go back to the 18th century. Lusca is sometimes described as a species of giant octopus, but some mention it as an animal with characteristics similar to those of shark or eel that constantly attacks the men who sail in the waters of this region. The large disappearances of entire crews or divers are usually attributed to this monster, and those who have survived comment how the sea begins to bubble minutes before it emerges from the depth. Number 3. The seas, rivers, and lakes are the protagonists of mysterious stories about strange species that have frightened in different parts of the earth. This is the case of Lukvata, an apparent monster from Lake Victoria in the Great Rift Valley in Africa. Its physical features range from a square head to a body with dolphin-like skin. The history of this monster begins centuries ago, when that African continent was plundered by different European empires for several centuries, and precisely there are stories of explorers who have seen it, as is the case of Sir Clement Hill. Hill describes it as a creature with a long neck and small head, which many have resembled to a plesiosaur. Similarly, it is mentioned that Hill and all his crew suffered from an attack. The Lukvata is also known in Uganda, where the natives of Baganda, Wasoga, and Kavirondo relate the creature to sleeping sickness, causing them to sacrifice large numbers of sheep and cattle to the beast. Number 2. The Gazeka Monster. Seen apparently in Papua New Guinea at the beginning of the 20th century, the Gazeka is mentioned similarly to a giant tapir or sloth. In the year 1870, some expeditions are known to have seen it, although it was not until 1910 when a newspaper publication mentioned the discovery made by an explorer in the west of British New Guinea. There, he observed the supposed traces of a huge beast called Gazeka of Moncton. Number 1. Plesiosaurus in Japan. In this position, we go back to 1977, when a Japanese fishing boat near New Zealand dragged with its nets the corpse of a strange species. This creature was reported to have a strong resemblance to the extinct plesiosaur. So far, no one knows clearly what kind of creature this was, since the only evidence we have is a series of photographs. But despite the lack of evidence, several hypotheses of what that might be have emerged. Some stand firm with the history of the plesiosaur, but others more skeptical mention that it is simply a rotting basking shark. Zero Zone, the Demon of Dover. At exactly 10:30 p.m. on April the 21st, 1977, Bill Bartlett, a 17-year-old boy, was driving home with two friends when he spotted a mysterious being on the side of the road in Dover, Massachusetts. The creature had a disproportionate and oval head, two large round eyes, along with long limbs. There is no doubt that this world is full of mysterious creatures that make this planet an interesting place.